Hey guys, here's my gear. Last official day of August. Semogue Owners Club boar brush. Let's get him back in the soaking bowl. He's only had a couple minutes. I'd like to give him a little bit more before I use him. Special edition Fatip with the open comb base plate installed. Has the Piccolo handle. Thinner but solid, so it's got some nice weight to it. A Nacet blade. Vetyver from Martin de Candre. I'll be glad to put this soap back on the shelf. I'm ready to get into other more enjoyable soaps. Post shave, Soap Commander Integrity, unscented, menthol free. It's been working great for me this month. And let me put my little, before things get all splishy splashy around here, put my little paper envelope away. And this is the count. 332 uses. So today is a magical number, 333. That's how many uses this blade has had. And now let's put the blade in the razor. Traveled and didn't know if I was going to spend the night somewhere else, and so I disassembled everything. Here's the blade with the 3 dots, and you can see I've been using it in this razor for a month because you can definitely see the discoloration of the gaps in the open comb. Let's check for the right alignment. Yep, we're good. Okay, get my face wet. And I've taken the brush out of the water and shaken most of the water out. Let's continue to kind of do that, as is my tradition. And there we go. Still actually got a good bit of water in it. Always remember, boar brushes do absorb water into the fibers. That's why they start out feeling like broomsticks, broom bristles and scrub brushes. But then when they absorb that water, they change personality because the water gives them more flex. All right, 10 swirls. 1. And there's 10. Again, visually, there's not much to see on the brush, and did not really generate too much liquid on the soap surface either. Just a little gloss there. Nothing dripping out or anything like that. At this concentration, the scent is not very strong. It is coming up to meet my nose, which is nice. You don't want it too weak, but went ahead and put in a teaspoon of water. About 24 hours since my last shave. And remember, I'm going to save the weight usage results for the next shave because I measure the weight of the soap before each shave. And so the weight of the soap after this one is going to be recorded on the next shave with this soap. And that's why I'm going to do a September 1st shave with MdC, but before that I'm going to record that weight, and that's going to tell us data. It's going to give us info about how many grams of soap I was able to use per shave. And I'm only going to count like the last half of the month because that is when I refined the shave to the smaller number of swirls. I started out loading for 30 seconds, and I've reduced that time to a little bit less than 1/10 of that. We've got it 1.5 teaspoons in. Last couple of shaves, that's been pretty close to as much water as we needed. And remember that MdC is going to differ with your load time if you haven't used it in a while. I can do this 10 swirl thing because I've been using it every day. Who knows how many swirls, or at that point you may even be able to count in the seconds, you know. Who knows how much you would need if you just used it once a week or something like that. Once a year, obviously, the more time between uses, the slight increase you're going to need to make for the load time. Okay, we don't have tons, but it looks like it's enough to do the job. I don't feel good about adding any more water, so we will stick with that. And my face still feels pretty wet because that didn't take too long, but I'll go ahead and put a little bit of water on my face and start working it in. This brush, the bloom, has definitely opened up more. In the beginning of the month, I did have the little outliers that hung out on the outside of the bloom range. But as the month has gone by, more and more bristles have joined them there. And the tips, a lot of them have really split, but I would not say the majority have split. So it's still got a good ways to go of softer and softer and softer. The feel will just get better and better until finally we get all those tips split, and then we get the kind of the terminal velocity there, the terminal softness. Now look around my goatee here. That's kind of thick. I kind of feel like I need to add a little bit more water to that. During this shave, we will cover a few of the things I learned about the soap, which is one of my goals, was to learn more about this one, mainly to get that data about how many shaves one can get out of the tub. It's an expensive soap if you buy it from America and you have to have it shipped over from France. While this seeps into my face and works in, now's a good time to pause and reflect on a few of the things I wrote down. It does a decent job if it's too wet, but it doesn't feel very good on your fingers. It doesn't have any kind of creaminess or real slickness to it, but it does get the job done. It feels okay on the face with the brush, but it does start to excel and achieve more of a creamy-like state when you run it a little drier. And as such, this may be a good soap for people who want to lather up fairly quickly, because it does have that kind of high structure, high body, and it doesn't take very much loading before your brush has just got a lot of soap in it. So for a face latherers who need to get in and get out quick, it's also a quick rinsing lather. Again, that might be exactly what some people need. I did mix it thicker, and it started to approach kind of a luxury feel, but it never approached anything like a good tallow soap or even a lot of the good vegan soaps out there. It is a vegan soap, and so if that's important to you, that could be a pro in favor of this brand. They only use essential oils as well, and that could be something that's important to you. When I did mix it dry enough to have kind of a nice feel to it between the fingers, it was too dry on my face, and it didn't give me as slick of a shave. I did try using dry brush loading, wet brush loading, and I always got the same lather. So not really a trick to it. However you want to come at it, you're going to end up with the same lather if you want to. There's no need to bloom the soap. I learned that pretty quick. It picks up so quickly on the brush that you just don't need to bloom or soak this soap at all, even though it's a fairly hard soap. The biggest thing I learned was it's a cheap soap. I think I'm going to find that between $2 and $3 is what it takes, even at the higher American prices, per month is what you're paying, because you're going to get 20 or 22 months of use out of this soap is most likely what I believe I'm going to find out. Those were the preliminary results. Let's see how close the final results come to that. But in either case, you're not paying very much per month of use, since you are going to get so many months of use out of it. So it's something, maybe an investment kind of thing. You pay a lot of money up front, but you go for a long way. Now, of course, with that 20, 22, 23 months of usage, we're looking at my type of lather, where I'm getting 5 or 6 passes of lather. I'm using a bowl to conserve it, that sort of thing. Some of you overloading face latherers may shorten that a bit. Could be you could reduce it by 2/3, since sometimes the face latherers with sterling and chiseled face were using 1.5 grams of soap per shave, and I was using 0.5 gram of soap per shave. And there we go. I think I mentioned everything. My lessons learned from MdC. All right. It did sometimes make my face dry out just a little bit. Now my face recovered pretty easily because I do have oily skin. But there were times where I mixed it kind of rich, and I did walk away thinking that, well, boy, I bet guys with dry skin might have a problem with this one. A little tuggy on the first pass here, but that's fairly normal. And let's put another layer, another pass on. We can do cross grain now. rinse. Kind of having a conversation lately on Reddit about how it's possible, and we're wondering if one of the big deals about making blades go for so long is drying them between uses. Now, for austere August in 2018 and 19 and 20, I have not dried it between uses. But almost all the other days, I was playing with it, moving it between different razors, and when I do that, I do dry it. I pat it dry. No stropping or anything like that. But I just pat it dry, and maybe that is preventing corrosion on the blade edge at the microscopic level, and thereby keeping it sharper. I don't know. And there we go, rinse. All right, I'm really tired, and I am looking forward to getting some sleep tonight. So this is the third pass. That's going to be plenty for that. And then we have a little bit of margin left. So not as much margin as I've had on other days. But if you've got this kind of brush or one with similar properties, a 10 swirl may be a load method for you to check out and see how it works for you. You know, 30 swirls may be your thing. It just all depends on your own preferences as well as what brush you're using. That sort of thing. Always keeping a light touch. And that way when I switch to a new blade that's all crisp and freshly sharp, I don't cut myself up. Do not want to bear down to try to get the hairs to cut. Relather, approach it again, maybe from a different angle. There's also a technique called J-hooking where you're kind of doing a twisting motion, and in essence I think it's like a slice where you're doing a diagonal cut, but it's a little bit of a curve to it. You can look it up online. I've tried it a few times, but I find that I get it fine shaved without having to do it, and so I haven't practiced myself in that technique. And while my face still has a good bit of the moisture still in it, let's bring out the Soap Commander Balm. It's a nice quality balm. Zingari Man has been getting a lot of press lately on Reddit, and rightfully so. It's a very good product. Very good. But just because there's a new dog in town that's doing well doesn't mean all the other guys that have been in play for a while suck, you know? Still a very good balm. All right. Well, it's time for me just to clean up. So here we are after stropping with a towel. Nice big bloom with this brush. It's a wonderful piece. I like the handle. The handle design is really nice. I've got big fingers, and this little ridge right here, if it's a problem for you, and it was for me in the very, very, very beginning, I got used to it, and it's very comfortable. It's a really good handle. This shape is very popular with many of the Semogues that are in existence, and I'm a big fan of it myself. So there we go. Nice, dense bore brush. Bores need to be broken in. So about MdC, a few final remarks. It is nice to see that it really goes a long way and that it's really a budget soap when you think about it, when you actually do the math. Now, there are definitely cheaper soaps, and in my opinion, cheaper soaps that perform a lot better. Sterling, for instance. I think Chiseled Face is probably a little better than MdC. And it's another one. And the scents, of course, with Sterling and Chiseled Face are just so varied and wonderful that that's kind of makes the decision for you. Never mind the fact that the lathers are better, slicker, creamier. You're just not really going to get a creamy one out of this guy unless you're wanting to shave with kind of a drier lather, and that's just not me. And so, the MdC may be really built for your own needs, but it's just not built for mine. Nothing wrong with it. It's just, that's what it is. It's just not built for my needs. And so most of the other soaps are going to be better deals for me. So there we go. There we go. Learned a lot about it. I was thinking about, would I want to swap this tub out for something else? And I really don't think so. I will probably sell this tub and not really replace it with an MdC product because it does last forever. There is that, but the performance, it just doesn't make me want to go back to it. I did like the scent on the Fougere better than the Vetyver scent, but the Fougere that I tried, the scent was so light that it was basically unscented, and so I just had to pass on it, and I think I resold it. So yeah, we do have a deflection. In the beginning, 2 millimeters down, 3 millimeters down, it was fairly flat. And now I'm thinking we have a deflection, a little disc that's maybe 5 millimeters deep, something like that. So, we are gradually wearing it down, and you will see a difference from the beginning of the month to the middle of the month to the end of the month for sure. All right, guys. A little bit for me to clean up, but I believe that's pretty much it. And for this shave, we used about 1 3/4 teaspoons of water for 10 swirls. So since I started doing the 10 swirl method, I was getting between 6 and 4 passes of lather per time. And so sometimes you can see there's some variation there. Maybe the previous shave wasn't quite 24 hours, and so the soap was still a little bit more wet, so you picked up more soap. Those kind of variations come into play. If you find that the low point of that cycle, the 4 passes of lather is a little bit too less for you, add another swirl, and maybe 11 swirls or 12 is going to be the right one for you. And there we go. Austere August is done. We will give you more data next shave, September 1st shave. But we'll shave with MdC one more time and get work up all the numbers, see how everything goes. It's still not a huge sample set, if I didn't have so many other soaps to play around with and have fun with, and if MdC was maybe just a little better in performance, I might keep going for another 2 weeks. Since we are dealing with potentially using 1/3 of a gram per shave and my scale only measures per gram, then something a little bit longer would give us more precise results. But I believe this is going to prove the point and give us a range of kind of possibilities, as we do the math, to give us just a good idea that, hey, yeah, this soap lasts a long, long time. All right, guys, I hope there's been something good in this month for you, and today especially. And you guys, it's for you guys who've stuck with me. I know the number of views this month has declined based on the previous months and other times of the year, and I guess that's normal, because who wants to see somebody shave with the exact same setup all the time, And so that's fine. That's fine. All right, you guys, have a good night. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care.